Hey everybody, let's talk a little bit about KDE and what the Kentucky Department of Education offers as far as paperwork and procedures for students with disabilities. So when you're on the KDE website, and I did a quick snapshot of what the KDE website looks like today, know that the KDE website changes quite often, and you can access it often through your district websites. So for example, Kenton County Schools offers an access to KDE for their teachers, so whichever district you work for will probably have a link to KDE. You can also go directly to education.ky.gov, and when you get into KDE, the easiest thing to do is search for IEP. The search engine in KDE is really great and will take you where you need to go. The main page that you want to be is under the Iep Guidance and Documents. There is an Iep guidance document that tells you everything that's required in the state of Kentucky to develop an IEP. And there is also guidance for developing your lesson plans for students with disabilities, and just tons of other useful information. So KDE, we've said, it's a premier website that you need to access for students with disabilities in the state of Kentucky. Some things you need to know as you begin your exploration of special education. I've already talked a little bit about IEPs. So in Kentucky, any student that qualifies with a disability must have an IEP, which is an individualized education program. It's not a plan, and when we think of a plan, I think of something I develop and sit on a shelf, and then I may or may not access it again until I have to update it. But a program is something I'm in every day, like an exercise routine, a special diet program that I'm using, anything that I do every day. A program is something I'm engaged in. So a student's IEP is federally mandated under IDEA, and Kentucky follows that federal guideline and has expounded on that federal guideline. And every student that qualifies with a disability must have an IEP. That IEP must be updated at a minimum annually and has to have all of the required elements. There is a template for the Kentucky IEP that you can access here. There's also information about the conference summary and the required components. So every time the school meets to discuss a student with a disability, that's called an ARC, or an Admissions and Release Committee meeting. And those are bound by federal and state law. You are legally accountable when you are signing that you've attended an ARC meeting, and then you're legally responsible for what happens in that meeting. And every time you discuss a student's eligibility, whether or not a student is receiving certain services, and their IEP, all of those things must be discussed within the bounds of an ARC meeting, and it must be documented in this conference summary. The conference summary includes all the legal elements required by IDEA and Kentucky state law. And in the conference summary, you're documenting that you have met all of the procedural safeguards. So procedural safeguards are what are guaranteed to parents and guardians for students with disabilities, and we are required by law to give a copy of those procedural safeguards and explain them verbally if parents request at every ARC meeting. You'll see a copy of those procedural safeguards here, as well as this is the procedural safeguards notice. Every time you meet, you're required by law to give parents at least 7 days notice to determine if they're able to meet or not. Best practice would be to contact them in advance and find a mutually agreeable time that parents can meet. Know that anytime you meet, there has to be a special education teacher, the general education teacher that works with the child in their area of disability, and an administrator who can explain rights, as well as a parent or guardian and a student if they're over the age of 14. Parents can choose to attend or not attend every meeting except eligibility. Anytime we look at permission or eligibility, parent or guardians must be in attendance. But for the other meetings where you're reviewing annual reviews, parents can opt not to attend, but our best practice is always to encourage parent involvement in whatever way they can participate. So if they're not able to physically be there with us, then we attempt to work with them on the phone and have them attend via phone. Some parents have even attended via text if they don't have enough minutes to attend. Some districts have gone and picked parents up if they don't have transportation so that they can get to the meeting, but it's our responsibility to make sure that we give parents every opportunity to attend these ARC meetings to discuss their child's IEP. We also need to make sure that we've determined the educational representative, that is the child's parent or legal guardian, and that those parents have been notified and are part of the decision-making process. So just because someone has the same last name as a child does not mean they are their educational representative. So you need to find who that person is, and there's a process for that and a form. And then I've also included two forms that we use when students are exhibiting behaviors that we need to support, and those are called a functional behavior assessment and a behavior intervention plan. So both of those documents are here in addition to the other required documents. This functional behavior assessment, FBA, and this BIP, as we call it for short, these are not required elements unless a student exhibits behavior, and the ARC committee determines that an FBA or a BIP need to be developed. You would never develop a behavior intervention plan until you've done this FBA, but those two pieces are there in case you need them, and we will definitely be discussing them when we get to the section to discuss students with emotional and behavioral disabilities. If you have any questions about the information from KDE, this is just a good way to wrap our state resources into the federal resources you're learning about in this module, but we're happy to answer questions. Feel free to ask them in the questions board or give us a call. Enjoy your learning.